Welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest hosts, Jason and Olga Mathis.
Woohoo! Awesome. Oh my God, we super fired up. Now is the Wednesday call. It's going to be amazing. We just get back from Ireland. We went to London. We have an amazing association. Oh my God. And thank you so much, Andy and Jane Albright, because these trips that you always give us, oh my God, it's amazing. It's the top of the line. And we are so grateful for you guys to give us a shot to be in this business. And I love every year. I cannot wait to be in these trips. And thank you, Andy Riddle, and the soon be Angela Riddle. Woohoo! We're super excited. Thank you so much for everything that you do for us. But one of the things that I want to talk is about New Zealand. Let me tell you, if the trip to Ireland was the most amazing, to spend time with our Alliance family, that was the most incredible. Eating together, traveling together, in the best place, the best restaurants.
Carriers renting boats and having training on boats. It was awesome.
That's right, exactly. So the only thing that I can tell you guys is that do not miss New Zealand. The way how Andy Albright is doing, he is crazy, and Jane Albright. Why? Because to go to New Zealand is not that hard. So let me explain how that works. So if it's somebody who already went to a trip, so it's about 25,000 points for each event. So that means the only thing that you do is 150,000 points. So every time that you go to an event is 25,000. So it's 100,000 points that you want to get.
4 events each year.
4 events each year. But if you never went to an event, right there is when I said Andy Albright is getting crazy. He wants everybody to go on these trips. So if you never went to an event, he's going to give you 40,000 points. So if somebody already went to the national convention, already have 40,000 points. Now we're going to the view from the edge. It's another 40,000 points in April. The 21, 22, and 23. And then we're going to have family reunion. It's going to be another 40,000 points. And then breakthrough, another 40,000 points. So that means it's 160,000 points. The only thing that you have to do is 90,000 in your own pen. But Andy Albright, Jane Albright is giving you 160,000, but it's more.
But what about the brand new people?
Oh my God. If you sign up or you are with the Alliance after January 16, Andy Albright is super crazy.
Can't forget about it. They're brand new.
Brand new starting. Now going to the view, you're going to get 60,000 points, guys. And then another 60 at family reunion. And then another 60,000 points and breakthrough. So right there is 180,000 points. And the only thing that a brand new guy has to do is 70,000 in the whole year.
Yeah.
So Andy Albright really wants you to be there. So don't miss it because these trips are so incredible. Okay, so now let's talk about where Andy Albright is going to be. So Andy Albright is going to be traveling tomorrow with Robbie Kraft. He's going to be in Dallas. He's going to be in Dallas from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay. And then in the afternoon,
we got a triple whammy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the double whammy in the morning in Dallas.
It's going to be in the afternoon from 3 to 6. It's going to be Andy Albright, Robbie Kraft.
That's the double whammy.
And the incredible
Terry Edwards
is going to be there. So don't miss that in Houston, Texas. So Houston, Texas is going to be Andy Albright, Robbie Kraft, and Terry Edwards. So it's going to be an amazing training. Bring people there because let me tell you, these 3 together are going to be awesome. Okay, and that is tomorrow, Thursday.
I mean, how do you make an Andy Albright and Robbie Kraft training better? Throw in some Terry Edwards. That's the only way to do it.
That's right. And tomorrow in Fort Lauderdale, we're going to have our hot spot. That is going to be awesome too. It's Jason and me. And then Friday the 14th, again in Atlanta at 12 p.m. is going to be Andy Bright, Robbie Kraft, and the amazing Terry Edwards together. So if you have people in Dallas, or you have people in Houston, or you have people in Fort Lauderdale, or you have people Friday in Atlanta, please go there because people are going to be fired up. And View from the Edge. Oh my God, that is going to be 21, 22nd, and 23.
21, 22, and 23 of April.
23. And let me tell you, if you didn't see the video, the promotion video that Azeta did, oh my God. Every time that I see that video, I get, chill? Goosebumps. Why? Because it's so amazing. It's going to be, it's like Terry Ed will say, it's going to be like a Broadway show. And then Guerra said, oh, it's going to be laughing. It's going to pee on your pants. Please don't pee on your pants. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. So it's like Azeta said, what is your problem? What is stopping you? This is your life. I love that. So please don't miss the View from the Edge because it's going to change your life. 21, 22, 23. Show that video. That video is the most amazing, especially it says life will never be the same if you go there. No matter what you have to do. I remember, I think it was that he sold his wedding bands.
Eric and Bobby Belair. Yeah.
No matter what you have to do, but you have to make sure that you go to the View from the Edge because it's going to change your business, it's going to change your life, and it's going to be the most amazing. I cannot wait to be there next week. So I love that. Okay, so right now we're going to talk about association, and I remember, and coaching, and I remember.
And what I would say that when we started, what I loved about this topic is there are no shortcuts in life, but this is the one true shortcut. If you can get association and coaching and put it on repeat, if you guys want to shortcut your business and find the shortcut, this is the way to do it. This is what we found to be true with ourselves, our agency. It even works in your marriage.
That's right. That's right. But let me tell you, when I started this business, I didn't listen to nobody. I was so scared, so afraid. And when Andy Riddle talked to me, I didn't understand him at all. So I didn't want to talk to the gringos, sorry, because I was so afraid. But I knew there was something there for me. I knew that when I got this opportunity, I said, I know I have to follow the system. And if you follow the system, oh my God, you're going to be so successful if you really follow the system. And that was me when I started. I didn't follow the system. And then I made the decision to travel. And then I found out that this guy was doing a meeting in Miami. At that time, I was living in Jacksonville.
That's when I was working at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Yeah.
That's right. And at that time, I said, I know I can do this business, but it was so difficult because my language, my accent, I didn't speak really good English. I speak better now. I don't have accent anymore. But let me tell you, if you do what you have to do, if you follow the system, and one of the things that I did was start to drive. And I said, I didn't have a rally point where people make calls and get together. And I found out that this guy was making appointments and making dials, and he was super good on the phone. And I was living in Jacksonville at that time. So, and then I said, you know what, Jason, can you go with me and travel with me? Can you drive with me to Miami? What do you say?
Oh, heck no. I was working full time at the bank.
And I was getting upset with him because he didn't want to help me. And then I said, you know what? This is my life. I have to change. I cannot wait for my husband. It's me. So I took my car and I drove from Jacksonville to Miami. 6.5 hours. I don't know if you drive super fast, it's less. But for me, it was 6.5, 7 hours from Jacksonville to Miami. And I was there and I was struggling making dials. And people say no. People say, hey, put me somebody who speaks English. And I say, oh my God, but let me tell you, I stay and I keep doing it for 9 months every week from Jacksonville to Miami, Miami to Jacksonville for 9 months, guys, 9 months. Why? Because I want to get better. I knew that if I follow the system, I know it's going to happen. So, and it started to happen that I made I made 12 appointments for the first time, guys, first time. So if you are close to the people who's making the money, people who are really making the phone calls and follow them, you're going to be successful. So I'm telling you, and what do you think about that, Jay?
Well, I was thinking that you married a gringo.
Woo!
You know, so you don't get too tired of them. You know what I mean? Don't get too tired. When Olga finished up a 25-year career at American Airlines, you know, throwing bags into the belly of an airplane, she started working at Dillard's part-time. And I was not fired up about that job. Okay. Why? Because I think what Dillard's does is they have, in her mind, she got this job and there was a sale on 24/7 called the employee discount. And every day from work, she started coming home with a little bag. Okay. And I was like, what are you doing? You're leaving all the money up at Dillard's. Please stop. I want to retire one day. You know, and then she got smart and she started hiding the bags in the back of the car. Like these,
you know how it is, girls?
Tricky, very, very tricky. So I wasn't really fired up. She had never sold insurance before. She'd never done anything like that, never run her own business. And I was like, oh my God, please, Lord, just let her make some money. And I was at Mama Bama, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Hubeland USA. Always really wanted to be self-employed, but had never found a system that worked for me. For whatever reason, me or the system, it didn't work. And she plugged in and started doing the business. And like she said in the beginning, she would associate her association for that particular shortcut was off the chain. She was going everywhere, all the trainings, soaking it all in. But her coaching, she needed to do more of what they were saying. And she would drag me to these training events in Jacksonville. They had these rally points and they had at the office in Jacksonville, and Riddle would be there training people. And I would have to go because I love my wife, and she's cute. So that's I'm right. I'm trying to make her happy. So I went and, I started meeting the people and associating with people just because I'm there. And I was like, these people are pretty cool. You know, they're funny. They know what they're doing, and they just seem like good people. And she finally passed her license on the third attempt, and I was like, oh my God, now I got to go check out this company called the Alliance, because I had never heard of the Alliance, didn't know what it was all about, never sold insurance or anything like that. And so we did a corporate tour. We went, when she got her license, like the month or two later, we went all the way up to the Alliance and did a corporate tour, and I was thoroughly impressed. I was like, thank God. This seems like a great system for my wife to make some money, because I knew in the insurance business, I was not a complete idiot. I knew that in the insurance business, if you could go out there and help families, you could make a lot of money. And so I was like, wow, this is great for my wife. If she could it can just click this system that Albrights have put in place with, all the systems, the Jeff Bikes, the Clay Murtises, President's Club, LPT, Wabi Craft, the ARC. I'm like, oh my God, if she can't make it here, she ain't gonna make it nowhere. And she started having success, and she was making over $9,000 a month in deposits. And I was just like, what in the flapjacks? My wife is making more money than me at Mama Bama. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start part-time. I'm going to keep my job at the bank, and I'm going to start part-time. So I started that. And one of the first things I did was I read some books that Andy Albright had wrote. One of them was The Millionaire Maker Manual. And in that book, Albright says we've trained a lot of great people with the system. Like, we've made a ton of mistakes. We stopped doing those mistakes. We train the people the right way so they don't have to have their own learning curve. Wash, rinse, and repeat our system. And he says, we've trained great people like Andy Riddle and Chris Long were in Jacksonville. And they started, I just saw them and what they were doing. And I was thinking in my mind, I was like, man, do I really want to run with these boys? Because they work. Andy Riddle, Chris Long were workers. And I was like, at corporate America, you can have a lot of anonymity. Like if you just sit in your cube and do your job, like you're going to have a job, right? So they're going to mess with the pay and the comp plan and all that kind of stuff. So I read that book, and Albright says, we've trained a lot of people, but if you want training from me, directly call my office and schedule something with me. And I was amazed at that. Here this guy has an absolutely massive business, making millions and tens of millions of dollars a year. And he's still willing to train people. And we were just on the ground floor. Like we had just started, right? She had just started. And I called his office and I was like, hey, this is Jason Mathis, my wife and I, she's been with you for over a year. I just started. Does Andy Albright still do this training with people? He says in his book he does. And I've got, I can come up there anytime Mr. Albright wants to train me because I got 80 hours of PTO, the paid time off. So they said, hold on. And they said, came back a minute later and said, we've got you scheduled with training with Andy Albright this Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And that was on like a Tuesday I made that call. So we are living in Jacksonville. I jumped in my car, went up there, and I got 3 days of world-class training from Andy Albright. One of the first things he told me when I sat down with him in his office, he said, Jason, I really appreciate you coming up here, taking the time off of work, the wear and tear on the car, driving up here, paying for the expense of the hotel, all that kind of stuff. Without you, I wouldn't have any work. If I didn't have guys like you coming up here, people like you, me be able to train them, I'd have no work. So I really appreciate that. I want to let you know that I noticed it, and it's greatly appreciated. And when I went to the corporate tour months before that, you can fit 3 or 4 Walmarts at corporate, in NAA corporate in North Carolina. I was amazed. So, of course, when Andy tells me this a year or so later, I'm like, yes, Mr. Albright, yeah, no problem. That's what I'll do. He said, if you can just believe what I'm going to tell you is true and accurate, and I don't have to take a ton of time explaining to you why your ideas won't work. We've tried them 100 times, and just do this. You'll get more from here. And he pointed at his head into your head. Can we do that? And I said, yes, sir. And that's what we started to do. And I was, whatever level I was at coaching ability at that point, I got better as time went on. And we just fell in love with the system. And we started working and making a bunch of mistakes, getting more coaching, tracking our numbers, going back to Riddle, going back to President's Club, going back to Robbie Kraft and Andy Albright, saying, hey, this is what's happening. This is where my agency's at. This is what's going on. What do we need to do to get better? And that wash, rinse, and repeat is super powerful, you as a person. I have found that, the analogy I like to use is people are not like car parts. A fender, they stick a piece of metal in the fender, and a big machine comes down and just pow, and it just makes the fender. One hit, done. One hit wonder fender, done. But with people, you gotta, if they want to change fast, then boom, they can change fast. But most of us, like me, it's that little incremental change every single day, getting with your coach every single day that makes that change happen faster. So we're super grateful to have found. I feel like the Alliance system, picked me up off the scrap heap of corporate America, because my plan was just to slide into retirement in 25 years. And we've been able to leave corporate America, have an amazing life so far. And it's been absolutely wonderful. So,
like, for example, yesterday was so awesome, the system that we have with the Alliance. I said, okay, I need to get my mind right.
You had a situation.
So I said, okay, I need my mind right. So I called Andy Riddle. I said, Andy Riddle, I need help. Let's talk. So we were talking on the phone, and that is awesome too. When you need help, somebody's there for you. Like Jeff Bright, I called him too, and we were talking on the phone like for 30 minutes. And Andy Bright have this amazing Jeff Bright, right? To help so many people at the Alliance. So it's really awesome. And Today, we have three amazing couples. No, not couples, two couples and a mom and a daughter. They are growing and they are really growing fast. So I'm really excited because we're going to talk about association and coaching on repeat, right, Nathan?
Yes, on repeat.
Yeah. So how to make money faster, how to grow faster. So I want to let's talk first with Jared and Rachel. Let's go, Jared and Rachel.
The Doucettes.
The Doucettes. Woo-hoo. How are you guys?
What's going on, Jason and Olga?
We're super
What's up,
excited
guys?
to be on the call. Thank you guys for having us as guests.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's a pleasure.
You guys are awesome. I remember meeting you on the phone for the first time. Kyle and Janina Harry had found you somehow and chatted with you. And I know, Jared, you were got into the business, and Rachel was when she told me what she was a butt wiper is what I remember. It's when I told it to my wife, I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. She works in the hospitals and she does this. And I'm like, oh,
in a jail.
No. Yeah, at a jail even. That's even worse. You know?
And I said, that little girl, she's so little and tiny.
That's right.
You know, so we talked to you on the phone. You were not busted and broke. You had a welding career that you had built up and were in my mind, a traveling welder where you would go do jobs and, work out your pay doing that. And it just amazed me that you wanted to switch that career because you had made it. You were making 6+ figures a year, and you decided to, from your YouTube research and Google research, decided to get into insurance. And I don't know where you got that from, but that's what you told me, and you started to do it. And I want to know, like, Jared, when you went to that NatCon training event with that association and the coaching there in January of 2022, how did that, because you were looking like the Alliance was not the only option you had. You were looking at other options. And what was it that you saw in our system that gave you hope and belief that this was a fit for you guys? Like, what was it?
So first off, I just want to say thank you, Jason, and thank you even more, Olga, for not listening to the gringo and keeping after it and being a hard worker. Because I know there wouldn't be a single one of us on this call having this success if Olga hadn't stuck with it those years ago. So we just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart for that. So we went to NatCon, and Jason was right. I was a weirdo, as Andy Albright says, as I found insurance on my own, stumbled across YouTube videos, Craigslist, and saw the kind of money you can make. And I was like, that can't be real. Did my research, and I was like, oh, it turns out there's more millionaires in insurance than there is in anything else. And me and my wife, we like money. So that's how we kind of hitched our wagon to the insurance train. But when we got to, NatCon, you say what gave us the hope? It was like the diversity of the people that were there.
Yeah. What did you see? Like what, as compared to, like, what did you like about us? Why us?
Why the Alliance? Because it's like you said, it's the system. It's you wash, rinse, and repeat. And you get around the system and you find that it doesn't matter if you're busted and broke, black, white, fat, tall, whatever it is. If you work the Alliance system, it works for you. And when we got to NatCon, we saw that firsthand because when you're talking on the phone with people recruiting, it's like you're just you're just like everybody else, right? But until I saw the Alliance culture and what it could really do, once we saw that, we were sold. The day after we got back from NatCon, we went out, bought leads, and I think we wrote like 12,000 our first month or something like that. So that was the hope.
Who did you hear from stage that you liked? I mean, it wasn't all Mathis and Harry. Like, who did you hear? Like, what were your two takeaways?
Oh, it was I.
For me, it was Paul Roberts.
Yeah. For me, it was Terry Edwards coming out to Jay-Z. I was like, because the whole place just went, and I was like, this is crazy,
So Terry Edwards walking out on stage to Jay-Z did it for you.
I was like, let's do it. Let's change our entire life just because of Terry Edwards. Yeah. And Rachel, and then Rachel loved Paul Roberts and his story,
Steffi's and Megan Woods. Yeah, there were so many different walks of life on that stage, and they were all earning trips and getting big checks and winning awards. So I just thought if we kept doing this and we didn't quit, I'd never have to go back to wiping butts again or stepping foot in a prison. And now we're doing it. And we're fired up. And now we got View from the Edge coming up. And we have 9 of our own downlines going. And it's their first trip ever. We're super excited.
Wait, how many?
9.
9 people going. Oh my God.
And we know if we know that once they get there, they're going to be fired up, because we know like I said, because anybody can talk about, what the Alliance can do, but it's when you see the people up there and get the association with the people that are actually doing it, that's when the Alliance is going to get into them,
Mm-hmm.
So we're fired up about that.
I mean, that's a shortcut, right? That's a trick to get people around better people than yourselves who can put on these world-class training events to get them trained up. Because if all you guys had to rely on was me to run your business, you might be in trouble.
We might have
you got Terry Edwards, we got Paul Roberts.
Yeah.
Huh?
We just got to be carnival barkers, man. We just tell people, View from the Edge, you got to get there. Let's get the tickets. Let's do this. I mean, we're begging, we're bribing people to get there. We're getting people into the big tent, and then we're going to see what happens when they get in there.
I heard that they're going to have the alligator boy and the wolf licker.
They just got them in. You got to see
this carnival.
Yes,
it's awesome.
Yes. Rachel, we just come back from Ireland. You guys made this trip in 9 months, guys. 9 months. And it's impressive. So what is the biggest take of that trip? Tell me 1 or 2.
Yeah, so I mean, we made the trip first year, 9 months. We were super excited. We worked really hard for that, 6, 7 days a week. I know Kyle and Nina were super fired up to have their downlines there, and really got to bond and hang out. It allowed us to get to know everybody better too, and not just work-wise, but personally. That's right.
You got tattoos too.
Got tattoos to prove it. I mean, we were at one of the rep events, Jason, you mentioned it, on the boat in Ireland, and we sat next to Jeff and Jen Schultz, and they're incredible people, and he's killing it with his annuities, and they're awesome. And Jen and I found out that, we're from the same area in New Hampshire, and they're down.
What?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool just to associate with everybody. And, if I could change anything, it would be to work even harder to make the extension, because that looked incredible.
Yes.
Nina sent pictures. It looked amazing,
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of people that were just associating, getting around the success, and a lot of shared interests. And it was just really good to get to know everybody a little bit better outside work.
Yeah, everybody bounces ideas off each other, and it's the whole thing about that I take away from association and coaching from the Alliance is that it's not any one thing. It's a little bit of everything. Call it, drive-by coaching. It's hearing some person. Sometimes it's overhearing something that someone's saying at an event that is like, oh, okay, I need to change that. And that's when we were on the trip. We had more than that than we could even handle. It was getting around, like she said, Jeff Schultz and Jen, and then being around Clay Murtis, hanging out with the people from, Elliot from HMA, just getting around all that. You can't do that sitting at your house, not doing it. And that's what made getting to the trip so much more worth it, was getting around those kinds of people. Yeah,
without going into too much detail, at one point you told me, you said, God, I didn't know you insurance people had so much fun on these trips.
And it wasn't, I didn't know you guys got down like that. I figured it'd be boring, we'd be like snoozing, but I couldn't hang with them. Benny and his wife, we couldn't hang out with them anymore. They're too crazy.
You thought it would be PowerPoints and training sessions.
Thought so, but it was very, very wrong.
It's a great way to associate in a very, very relaxed atmosphere, to really sit down and break some bread with somebody and pick their brain, and do that. It's absolutely important. You guys are getting some coaching from one of my buddies that me and Olga have got coaching from in our business and in our marriage, and Jeff Bright. How important has it been? It's super like anxiety reducing to me to know that I've got a Jeff Bright in my life and an Albright, a Riddle, that I can tap into that collective brain trust. I don't have to figure everything out. How important has it been? I know you guys get on the 1 hour Monday call evening with Jeff Bright, but you also step that up and get, one-on-one training with Jeff Bright once a week. How, and Jared, you can go first. How important has that been for you?
My wife likes me a lot more now. You know what I mean? We're out here talking about, association, getting on the trips, but don't let anyone fool you. Like it takes a lot of work to do this, and it takes a lot of work to do this with a spouse, as Jason, Olga, and as some of the people coming up right now, it takes a lot to do this with a partner. And for me, the biggest thing was we needed a third party to take a look at it, because I'm a lion, she's a golden, and sometimes we meet in the middle, and sometimes it's a fight. You know what I mean? It does happen. We have had 1 or 2 fights in our time doing this, and we didn't really
just 1 or 2.
Yeah, just 1 or 2. We didn't really know how to handle it. And then,
That means us too.
Yeah, 1 or 2. That's normal, And having a Jeff Bright to kind of peel back the layers and say, well, hey, you're right over here, you're wrong over here, and it's just to have someone kind of mediate. For me, at least, it was like, oh, thank God, at least I'm not going crazy. And then times when I thought I was right, I wasn't, and I was like, God dang it, Jeff Bright, what are you? You're supposed to be in my corner, but it's good because it just smooths a lot of stuff out for us. I know Rachel's felt the same way for most of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's helped us tremendously, and not just, like you said, not just in our business, but in our lives personally. We started out doing this as a couple. We had never done anything together like this before. So, we were trying not to coach each other and staying in each other's lanes, but it got to the point where, then we weren't talking at all because we didn't want to upset each other, So Jeff came in and he's been super helpful. He helps lower our frustration, our anxiety, and all of this. Yeah. And I think he's been in this for so long that his advice and his knowledge really gives us, it helps us shorten the learning curve. And we've really worked hard on wiping our own slates clean to be coachable and, failing fast to shorten that curve. And he really helps with that.
He's counseled you guys. He's counseled plenty of couples in the alliance. So when he tells us to do something, we just do it. We don't really question it. And that's a big thing for us in coaching is when someone's where we want to be, we just take their advice on faith and don't question it. Mm-hmm.
Like how awesome was to be in Ireland, us together, spend some extra time with Joe Walker and Tony Walker. How awesome was that, right?
That was awesome. Oh my God.
London was crazy.
London
we'll
was
always
crazy.
have London.
We'll always have London.
What happened in London?
Stay in London.
Right? Say what, Domino Joe ain't no joke. Okay, you gotta watch out for Domino Joe. All right.
Got some great pictures though, but it was great to associate with them. That was the first time that we had ever met them, and we all got to spend a whole week together. It was incredible. A year ago, I didn't think that this is what we'd be doing. Yeah, and Joe, and one thing about Joe and Tony Walker is they've been in it for so long, and they have such a wealth of information. And we didn't know that going to London. We'd heard of them. We knew of them, but didn't really know them. And that's one of the things these trips do is like you get around people that have been in it for so long, and we've got so much information from them, like whether they knew it or not, because they've been in it as a couple for a long time. So to be able to get around them, spend time with them, travel with them. I mean, we saw Stonehenge with Joe and Tony Walker, and that's not something a lot of people in the Alliance can say, so we're pretty fired up about that. And if anybody wants a picture taken, get Joe Walker on it.
Oh, let me tell you, it's the first time that I find somebody that don't take so many pictures like me that I didn't have to take pictures because I knew he was taking.
Yeah.
Send it to me. Awesome.
When in London, me and Joe Walker got a 3-card Monty pulled on us for about $700. It was crazy. And you got to find out that story at New Zealand if you want to know the details. Get with me and Joe Walker, and we'll tell you about it. And the last thing I'll say about the Walkers is they owe us a breakfast.
They do owe us a breakfast.
No, they not.
Okay. Rachel, I've been super impressed with your recruiting and, about coaching in association. Here's what's crazy about it is, I remember started work with you and you were tracking your numbers and, sometimes the downline teach the upline. And this is crazy. This is what happened with Rachel and her recruiting. I mean, I just went over the numbers with her yesterday. Her numbers were in a metric that's very important, were over 300% better than mine. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, teach me, please. I want to learn the Rachel method. So you talked to me about it, and I listened to a call or two of yours that you had done. So I want to say thank you for teaching me. You know, sometimes you can be the best at something and you get too daggum good for your own self, and you actually get so good you get away from what, you know, a Clay Murtis had taught me or whatever. And so I just want to say thank you for doing that, and you know, hammering down on this recruiting thing. And I just
number one, number two.
I got to call Rachel number one now. That's true. So tell them a little bit about how you learned when you started recruiting and getting all these people, just the management of it, and how you learned the BAM FAM technique and how you went through that progression.
Oh gosh, it was so frustrating at first, Jason. I can't even tell you how many times I called Jason so angry and confused and all these questions, trying to follow the system. But really what I had to do again is just wipe that slate clean. Everything that I thought I knew, I need to just throw out and start over. So, you know, listening to your interviews, your fast tracks, your onboarding, all of that, you know, I learned that way.
You know, I remember, say it.
What do you remember, Jason?
One of the things
you called me up. You called me up, and in my mind, you know, it's like we got a jumper. I'm like, you know, we need.
You just have to care enough not to care. It's like the biggest, like, rule number one when you're recruiting, just care enough not to care. The people, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. But you guys tell me all the time. And it's so true. The people that want to do this, the Aces, the Jared, the Rachels, the Kyle, Ninas, Olgas, you know, they're going to do this. Whether or not you're calling them every single day or once a week, they're going to want to do it. And just following the system.
And what was your, to manage all the people you're bringing, what was your epiphany moment?
Oh, yeah. So I called you because I had this huge epiphany in the middle of the night, and I got up and I was wide awake and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what Jason was trying to tell me for months. So as I'm doing my interviews and writing my notes, you know, I was getting confused in how to follow up with all these people. You know, we were doing, you know, we got 40 wide so fast. How am I going to follow up with all these people? And I learned on my calendar that you could just change the date to next week after you meet with them. So the next week, when that day comes, you just call them and it's like it's already there and set up, and you just do that every week. So
and you don't even have to remember it. It just pops up.
Yeah. And it's changed everything. I mean, we have a rally points now every week, and, you know, we're dialing and running business with our agents, and, you know, we go to just about every hotspot and get them there. Yeah. You know, we bring the whole family because we know that it's valuable. We know the association is huge. Our boys have relationships with the agents too, which is cool. Albright was on the floor playing with them at one point. Ollie was bringing Jane roses. Jimmy Leo made them balloon animals. Marnie lets them play with their animals. You know, it just goes on. But, you know, recently Carter had a school fundraiser, and we had so many agents, like down lines, cross lines, up lines, that donated to his school. Jason, Sean, Alex Abian, Andy Riddle, Ruth, Elvis, Steffi, everybody. Just so many people. And when Carter saw his name at the top of that leaderboard, and how many people cared, he lost it. He cried.
It was awesome.
Yeah, you know, and he's only 6, so it just goes to show the association is affecting all of us, and, you know, it's impacting them, and being around so much success and generosity. You know, they ask us now when we're going to go live in a mansion. So
the Alliance family are the best. Woohoo! But thank you.
One thing we want to say real quick too is that this is how strong the coaching and association is in the Alliance. When we were actually on vacation in London and Ireland, we had interviews that we had to do something with. We didn't want them to go to waste. And we have Ruth Velasquez and Tim Edwards on our team, some new recruits that we had, and they've been with us for a month, 2 months tops. And when we were gone, with the little bit of coaching that Rachel did with them, they were able to bring like an extra 10 to 14 agents in while we were away. So that's a strong association coaching in the Alliance. You know, I don't know what is, because they're bouncing ideas off us while we're in London. We're answering calls 2 a.m, you know, trying to figure this thing out. And we're calling them like, what's going on? They're like, would you guys just go on vacation already? We're like, we can't. All right.
Yeah, but none of that growth would have happened, Jason, if it wasn't for you and you taking the time to answer my calls, my emails nonstop. So I truly, really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate all that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Love you guys. Really excited. It's amazing to go to this trip, but not alone. We knew people, and have you in that trip with us was amazing. It's a lot of memories. But thank you so much. Love you guys. And now, please, let's talk to the beautiful Taylor, Sean, and Taylor. Woohoo! I almost say the beautiful Sean, but it's Taylor.
Beautiful Taylor.
That's okay, Olga.
Okay.
He knows the truth. he sees it every day.
Super
Yep, that's how I
excited.
got her.
Super excited to have you in this trip and to see you guys growing so fast. And I don't know how long that took you to go to this trip. Less than a year that you earned the trip, and then district managers when you go to the first trip, and then district manager. That is amazing. That's big. So
Yeah.
let's start with the beautiful Taylor and Sean.
Guys, thanks for being on. Fired up about what you guys are doing in your agency. I know you guys screwed it up. You were going for AM and hit DM. And like, wow.
That's right.
Great job screwing it up. So way to go. And we're proud of you guys for working with your team. I think you guys are one of the best examples. You and Marnie and Sabrina are some of the best examples of working with your A team, the people that are doing it and helping them, servicing them, coaching them, and meeting them where they're at. So keep doing it. You know, Taylor and Sean, I'll both answer this, but Taylor, you can hit it first. Like, Taylor, what were you doing prior to coming to the Alliance? Like, you had a business, you guys were both self-employed. You know, tell them a little bit about what you were doing and why and what you liked and saw in the Alliance system that made you leave that and go full-time with us.
So, yeah, before I came to the Alliance, first of all, I want to say thank you to you guys for having us on.
Yeah,
Thank you, Andy and Jane, for this amazing opportunity. But before I came to the Alliance, I was in college for the regular 4 years and graduated. I had no idea what I was going to do with that. And from there, I found cryotherapy, and I opened up my own business, freezing people's fat off. And I was doing that for about a year when Sean got his insurance license, and thank God he convinced me to go to a hotspot. And I just saw people like me, like Michelle Colin and Stephanie Rodriguez, who were just they were making money. They had freedom. They had time. They were doing what they wanted to do, and they were making lots of money. And I was like, right, sign me up. Let's do it. I'm ready to go. And from there, we went to our first NatCon, and that blew my mind too. Right away, got my license, got started, quit doing fat freezing. I was done with that. Thank God. Don't want to look back.
What did you see at, like, who did you hear? What resonated with you? What did you see at NatCon that you're like, I'm in?
Really the biggest thing was the people. Like, the culture of the Alliance is just so friendly. Everyone's there for each other. Everyone really has a big, lots of caring. They have so much caring inside of them for everybody around them, and everybody wants everybody to do well. You know, even if there's some like competitions going on, they still want the best for everybody, and everyone's here to help you.
Wow, I love it. And Sean, you were also self-employed. What, you know, and trying to make a go of it in a whole nother industry. You know, what were you doing? Tell them a little bit about, and, you know, what made you leave that behind and you know, do the insurance thing?
Yeah. And by the way, thank you guys for having us on as well. Andy, Jane, thanks for the opportunity. Like, huge, guys. So what I was doing, I was a professional ballroom dancer. And before that, I was Marine Corps infantryman. So I went to Afghanistan a few times, got out, did a few warehouse jobs, Found that I love dancing because it's very peaceful for me, because I have a lot of stress going on. So I was just like, what I was doing, I was doing nothing very fast, right? Like I was teaching people how to dance. I was getting shafted on my paychecks. I started opening up my own dance studio, where I was going from the YMCA to whatever gym I could get myself into, and sneak my clients in there, right? And charge them, money, right? And so that was like, that's not a viable business option, right? So one day I was Googling how to get rich, right? And it said, do insurance. So I messed up, went into this insurance company. I won't mention them, right? But when I went to US Health Advisor, I didn't like it too much. You know what I mean? So wasn't the best place for me. I made $0 in 2 months. And then I got this awesome phone call, which is crazy how God works in your life. Is when I was about to quit, Jason called, right? And I told him no. I was like, nah, man, that don't sound right. So he's like, all right, cool, we'll call you back next week. He called me again, and it's that persistence that Jason and Olga and their whole entire team in Bolivia is that they don't give up on you when you tell them no, right? So what I was doing is I was looking for a shot, and they gave it to me, right? And they didn't quit on me right away. So that's what I was doing before I jumped in at the Alliance. So thank you guys for that, for not giving up.
I remember when you went to, I went to Tampa to do a hot spot, and we took the first picture. I love taking pictures, and I still have and look now, you are district managers.
I came back, I was like, I got a picture with Olga Mathis. You don't even know how cool that was.
Thought it was a celebrity who was taking pictures.
Yeah,
it was. I didn't realize.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. It's been wonderful working with you guys, and I know Sean and Taylor, you guys have been working a lot with Riddle and getting a lot of direct coaching from him. And tell us a little bit about, how that next level coaching's helped you in your business, what it's done for your relationship, how it's keeping you focused. Like why do that? Like, how's it helping you?
Yeah. Where to start, right? It's a whole new outlook on life, Jason. Just like getting around somebody with that type of mindset. Like, I think that I'm thinking the right things, and then he'll come out with something. And it's not this like big epiphany where Jesus came down and said, hey, there shall be. Like it's something simple that you correct. And the big thing is doing it, right? Is I don't ever want to let my mentors down, right? So I do it because I don't, like, my biggest fear is losing that person who's teaching me, right? So he course corrects us. He gives myself confidence, I think Taylor too, that different mindset, and then just opens the doors for bigger dreaming, bigger thinking, where we're thinking, oh, cool, we're going to do agency manager. He's like, well, that's small. Why don't you go for EVP, right? Why don't you go for junior board member? Like, think bigger. Mm-hmm. So these crazy, big, hairy, auspicious dreams. I think that's what it says on one of Andy's books. You guys got to check it out, read them. Andy Albright's books. And he's like, we're both introverts. We hate talking to people. It's an energy suck for us. Like, we hate it. And what he does is he teaches us how to use that introvert and make it into a strength rather than make it a weakness, where we can, utilize the system like Olga and Jason and Marty and Sabrina and like a Brian Rojas and all these other people who help, like Mia Fennell isn't even on our team, help, Terry Edwards, right? There's a ton of people I'm probably going to forget.
Brian Rojas.
And not even just the people above us that he's taught us to utilize, is those people that are, like you said, Rachel has taught you, like a Jimmy Leo, Marlena, Tunisia, Lavetta, Santos. Those people made this little group where they stick together, they band together, And it's really like that's happened, one, because they wanted to, but it's from Riddle's, like his mindset. He created that sort of team within our agency, and it's been stronger than ever before, I believe. So
Yeah.
he
So you're
really
talking
brings that.
You're talking about the power of the team.
Yeah, and he makes you want to win and want to do things for him, for yourself, for your downlines, for other people you don't know yet. Like he brings that to the table, and you know, I bought into it. You know, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I like it.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk about Ireland, right? Not Rachel, Taylor.
Mhm.
I know that you guys was the first time with us in Ireland. It's the first trip. How awesome is that to go to another country? Just 1 year. How long you are in the company? So not a long time, right?
Yeah, I think this is our first year.
It's a 1 year. 1 year making the trip, having success, listening, being teachable, and all that. And now we're spending time together. We went and have dinner together. I saw you guys with different people and associating with different people. So that is the awesome thing about the Alliance, that you don't have to be with the team all the time. You can go to different places and learn from the top leaders and all that. So what is your biggest take, Taylor, from this trip? And, oh my God, I don't want to talk about that yet, but yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of big takeaways from this trip, but definitely getting to associate with people that aren't on your team and might be in different states that I never get to talk to. Like I know I spent some time talking with Danielle and Jenny Napoli, and they are both firecrackers. They're awesome.
Yes, they are.
I need to practice to keep up with them. They're awesome. Yeah, people like them, and spent some time with Jeff Schultz, and he's super awesome. Spent time with Andy and Angela, going out to the pubs late at night, talking with everyone, and also building closer relationships with people on our team. Like we spent a lot of time with Barney and Sabrina, just building that friendship closer. So. And that's just super valuable, even when you come back. So you just have more open lines of communication, so you can really know what's going on with the team, and having help in all different kinds of ways.
It's like you trust more, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And after hanging out with Marnie and Sabrina, being able to come back and start whooping some tail in spades with me and Terry Edwards, okay? I'm not going to mention the people that we sat down, but they know who they are. All right. So we were associating through some butt kicking when we came back. So just got to mention that, guys.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
You know, we also, one of the things I love about these trips that you really get to do in depth, and it's difficult to do at a hot spot or one of the big national events because there's so many people trying to vie for their attention, is you get to talk with the carrier reps. And I overheard a conversation, Sean, that you were having with one of our awesome carriers that we love. And what did you do with them? Did you hook up, tell me how that conversation went and what you guys hooked up some additional training for the team, right?
Yeah. There's a ton of, oh my gosh. So we talked to, first I'll mention, we talked to Rob.
Yeah, with
Mutual of Omaha, and he
had the best looking beard at the event. A Viking beard.
He did.
Loved it.
It was an amazing beard. I didn't get to touch it, but I got to admire it from afar. It was great. But yeah, like he asked us, which is great. Is like, what can Mutual of Omaha do for you to make your, agency and your agency owners, write more business with us? And when we're telling them these things, and who are we, right? We're the little guys. We don't write hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. But what he did is he took the time to listen, right? And really, it seemed like he cared. We got to eat some lunch with them, got to meet his partner. It was amazing. Like everything that he was doing was from the heart. So just getting that connection and being able to see that they're real people that work for Mutual of Omaha is just, that's amazing, right? And they're listening to our feedback and making the appropriate changes. And then F&G, we talked to all their guys, and we told them, like, hey, this is what we need. This is what we need. Same thing. They come from the heart. They're going to be setting up some training with us, with our team, to start doing the IUL training, because a lot of people like that, but it's complicated. But they're going to break it down, make it simplified for every single person to do, make it streamlined so it's not so long of a process. And I really feel like they're going to be doing that, because they're taking notes. They're contacting us after Ireland saying, hey, man, love talking to you. This is what we want to do with you guys.
I mean, there's no better place than Ireland to set up training for your team with the carrier reps than doing it in Ireland.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I know in the beginning, we're talking about, coaching and association and reaching out. I don't want to surprise anybody, but who's ever coaching you, they cannot read your mind. Okay. They did not go and get a mind reading spell from Hogwarts. They don't have it. It's not out there. So you guys have done a great job reaching up to Marnie and Sabrina for being in the home, about product knowledge, how to help the clients in the home. Tell everybody how important that is, especially for new agents before you become a product specialist. How important is it to have the ability to do that and then have agents do it? How's that affected you guys?
Yeah, it's been really awesome to have Marty and Sabrina there for us like that. So I know when I first started, everybody was telling me I don't need to know anything about anything. And I took that personally. And I don't think I would have made it through the first few months without Marty and Sabrina. But it doesn't work unless you actually call them from the home and call them after, call them before, or who knows what you're going to be writing for people. There's so many different things out there, and everyone's situation is different. And you really need to be utilizing the people that have been here, that know which products are going to be best for certain people. Just reiterate, you really have to call from the home. Make sure people know when you're going to be in the home.
It's a shortcut, right? Yeah, it's a shortcut because it cuts down on your learning time. You're relying on other people who've done it. And one thing that impressed the hell out of me with Sabrina, she became a product expert, I guess because she's young and her mind's still moldable.
She's amazing.
She just could read it and learn it and know it. And it was crazy. She was crazy sharp in that area. So, Sean, I know it's helped you a lot too, getting in the home, calling from the home. And you do that now with your agency. You were taught that. Now you're training it to the people you're working with, right?
Yeah, but
the good thing.
We still call. Mm-hmm. We know a lot of products, but Marty and Sabrina still know. We still call our product specialists all the time.
Yes, all the time.
See, that is the most important thing. Not feel like you are alone, because some people think that they know everything. No, you have to call no matter what. So it's super important, because you never know. Maybe something's so little and, I didn't think about that. So that's why it's super important. But one thing that I want to talk is that was super excited for us was to see what happened in Ireland. To see you guys in Ireland, in a castle with our best friends, we all together. And then what happened, Sean?
And Sean recruited his best recruit ever, I think, is what happened. Tell him about it, Sean. What happened?
Well, I asked Taylor to marry me, guys. So she said yeah. Woo! So so we're engaged now. We're talking about wedding plans, talking about cake, food, all that. But it's really humbling, and I never thought, first of all, that I would get married, right? But the next thing is that I would be able to ask the person I love the most in this world to marry me in Ireland. And then on a free, all expense paid trip to Ireland with all my buddies. You know what I
Yes,
mean? Like,
yes.
you don't think that life can get that good. Like, you're just thinking, oh, I'm just going to ask her at the supermarket, you know, aisle 3. That's what my big plan was, buy the beans, right? But no, like we got to do the things that we wanted to do, and it's kind of like a fairy tale, you know. It's really cool to do. So
Definitely was.
She's very excited to be marrying me.
I really was surprised. A lot of people didn't think I would be, but I was actually surprised.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Really excited for you guys, and soon, I don't know when it's going to be the wedding, but we're going to be there for you guys, and so awesome to see you, how you're growing so fast and getting coaching. And one thing that I like the most is that you said she loved butterflies, and you make sure that you take her to a butterfly place, flowers, and it's exactly where you ask her to get married.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, pro move. Pro move.
Thanks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, thank you guys for this.
Oh no, you're welcome. We love you guys, and keep working, keep listening, and be coaching. And thank you for helping all the agents and always there for them. Thank you so much. Okay, so now let's talk with with another couple. It's not a couple. It's a mom and my daughter. Morning, Sabrina. Hey guys, how are you?
Hi. Hello.
I like the hat. You from?
Love the hat.
Yeah, you.
We got our swag bag. Sabrina's wearing her shirt. We're ready.
Woo! Awesome, love it. We are ready too.
You know, Marnie and Sabrina. Marnie, I mean, your agency's blowing up. I mean, you guys were recognized VP last month and qualified national manager. Congratulations on hitting that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And we're talking about the one shortcut, you know, getting coaching and associating with the right people. I have found is a shortcut to success. And you know, if you can go back, Marnie, to when you started 2.5 years ago, you know, like what would you whisper in your own ear and say, hey, do this, don't do that? Like, what would you change if you could?
That's a really great question, Jason. There's so many things. First, I want to thank y'all for having us on here and congratulate Sean and Taylor, and being a part of that was amazing. I felt very blessed to be a part of that and be a part of their lives. We have truly grown into being great friends with all of you. What I would say to myself back then is just shut up and listen. I mean, I came from I was totally broken when I joined the Alliance and stuff, but I had come from a very strong background of owning my own business, doing my own thing, being in control of my life. And I couldn't believe that it was so easy, if you followed what you were supposed to do, the 8 steps and all, that you could actually achieve this amazing life. So I would fight it every step of the way until basically I got to the point where I was like, oh my God, if he says that one more time, I'm just going to prove him wrong, and I'm going to do what he says, and I'm going to show him this just can't work. And lo and behold, it just started to all fall in place.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I if I could go back 8.5 years ago when I started, you know, I would be like, listen to the people trying to tell you, here is the shortcut. Don't do that. Do this, or do more of this and less of that. You know, that would shorten the learning curve. If we all had a time machine, you know, that would be awesome. And you know, you built a team and you're working with a team. I love the way you help the team. You've got a great heart. Everybody on your team knows it. How like the load is heavy if you don't use the system, but you guys were able to plug your team into the hotspots. How much is the hotspot in Tampa in particular been able to help you guys get your team helping more families? Like, how big has that Tampa hotspot been? Like,
It's totally incredible. Without the hotspots, without getting connected to people, you're kind of on your own, and you don't have that belief system that it could work, or that seeing everybody up there, they all started the same place. Nobody walked in, an agency manager. Everybody starts at the very beginning. Sean was we got introduced to Sean, I think through you, at the very beginning. He was up here, you were down in Fort Lauderdale. He wasn't getting started. I think he stopped doing it a few times. You're like, hey, work with this kid. There was no Taylor at that point. She wasn't even there. We're like, oh, you have a girlfriend. You have to bring her. And it wasn't until the momentum of Sean coming to the hotspots, plugging into Sabrina and I, and then bringing Taylor, that things started to move. They saw the magic, let's call it the magic, of at that time it was basically Stephanie, Brian, and Michelle. They were top producers here. I mean, they still are, but top producers, only producers up in this area. And that hotspot went from, last week we were checking it out, we had over half the room of our agents bringing people, getting in with people. There's somebody you're going to connect with. I might think that I'm, nice and charming, but, for whatever reason, everybody doesn't like me. So at least if they don't like me, I can plug them into Sean, Taylor, who doesn't like Taylor, Sabrina, and move that way. Jimmy, I mean, there's other people that they can plug into. And especially having that community in the hotspots, I can't tell you how monumental having Steffi, Brian, and Michelle and other people in my agency help and work and lead. And there's no responsibility to do that. We just all want to help everybody. I mean, it's been like incredible having them along for the ride and helping our agents and our team just totally blow up and grow.
It makes it so much easier because you don't have to train. You get other people working on them and teaching them from a different angle, a different way to say it, but it's the same message to go out there and help families.
Yeah, thank you, Manny, because you and Sabrina, you guys help a lot these agents. So that is what I love about you guys. You have a good heart and always willing to help. So that's awesome. But let me ask Sabrina, because I know at that time that you're ready to go to the convention, that was, I think it was national convention, right?
Family reunion.
Family reunion. So yeah, family reunion, that you say, you know what, let me go with my daughter. She's going to help me to pay for the trip. That time you were going to school for nursing. How do you decide to say, you know what, I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be an insurance agent. What made you change?
Honestly, when I went to family reunion, I had no intentions of doing the insurance thing. I was kind of just there for my mom because I knew she could do it. I knew, she always said to me, or not always, but one time she said to me, she's like, well, I can go get a job. I'm like, where are you going to go do a job where you can make this much money? I'm like, don't go work at Starbucks.
Oh, wait.
No, I'm like, so hearing all the speakers, Jeff Bright, Andy Albright, Mark Hutchison, just all these speakers, hearing Megan Wood's story, really over the course of the weekend, just kind of built and built and built. And honestly, when I believe it was Andy Albright or one of the other amazing speakers said, you have 4 main opportunities in life. Don't let this one pass you by. And I said, I'm not going to let this one pass me by. So we were driving back home and I said, I think I can do this. And I was doing nursing school full-time in an accelerated program. And I also had a part-time job taking care of a 98-year-old woman. So I already have my plate.
You were taking care of as a CNA, right?
Yeah.
And I classified it as the same as a butt wiper.
A licensed butt wiper.
A licensed butt wiper. Okay.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yep. And so I had a lot on my plate, and it was just going to have me make ends meet while I was in nursing school, and it definitely did.
So you're sitting there, I mean, you were making, if I remember correctly, I think $13 an hour wiping butts, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, there's no way I wouldn't do it for $200 an hour. And then you were talking to Andy Riddle, and he was telling you, hey, you got your license, you're going to get, how did he coach you about getting a $2 an hour per raise doing at wiping butts?
And again, I mean, it goes back to, I was at a hot spot. I wasn't at home. I was at a hot spot. He was saying another agent of his went to their boss and asked for a raise because the value of having your insurance license and what you can do with that is a lot more than what your hourly or your salary is. And I talked with him, and we decided what would keep me there is an extra $2 an hour, which is an extra $30 a week. So I got that $15 an hour. Now, that only kept me there another 2 weeks until I gave in my 2 weeks notice. So 4 weeks after that. And looking back at it, how fast it happened. I joined in August and got my insurance license end of August. And really, by November, I put in my 2 weeks and was done. I was ready to, I knew I had winter break coming up, and I wanted to invest all I could in those 4 weeks into my business. And then basically we had Sean and Taylor at the time. I saw the vision of what this could bring me, and having people like Emily Katz, Michelle Collin, like younger people who graduated college, didn't do their degrees, and are doing this, and they're just fine. Now, in nursing, you have a certain standard that you're gonna, graduate, get your job, making $60,000 to $100,000 a year, and be totally complacent with that. And I wanted more.
Your mother and I feel like we tricked you to go to this family reunion. Like it was kind of planned. I don't know if she remembers that, but I do. And I want to know, what did you hear at this event that said, I'm going to, on this accelerating nursing program, I'm going to throw all that away, not throw it away because me and your mom were telling you, you're going to graduate. You only had like 8 weeks to graduate or like 3 or 4 months to graduation. But what did you hear there that said, hey, this is a better deal than nursing?
Again, I mean, seeing the people getting the checks and the freedom that it brings. We have vanilla ice. I'm like, these people are doing something right if they have vanilla ice. I mean, like, come on, you're not some, shady thing when you have vanilla ice. I mean, and hearing him talk and just the speakers, it was right before they broke out the new levels charts, and they're explaining it, and I'm like, this doesn't sound that hard. I mean, it gets hard, but like, I can do this, and it seems simple.
Yep, that's awesome. And let me tell you, just to see you both in Ireland, that was so amazing. Going to so many places, trains, and eating super good, and getting together, and associating, and being with Shannon Taylor in that amazing moment, and all that. But Money, how this trip, what do you think what is better? The association is better in Ireland in these trips, or going to the hotspots, or what do you think? What is better?
Well, it's all awesome. It's just better in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, an all-expense paid trip to Ireland, that's definitely better.
That's right.
But getting to all the hotspots, doing the rally points, Sean Taylor, Sabrina, and I put together a family fun day of a bunch of sports and ice cream trucks and food for our teams a couple of weeks ago. I got a boo-boo. Just all of it together, and getting together with people that on a personal level, sharing their personal life. It's not all just work. We're all human, and we have personal lives. And sharing all these events and times, and getting into people's personal lives. When we're at hotspots with Sabrina, I mean, I got a lot of grief from a lot of my family. Like, what do you mean you put her through where she went through nursing school and you're going to have her sell insurance? Like, that's like such a waste. And I'm like, well, she's going to make her own decision. But Sabrina was going to school, and then she started at the end, coming out working one weekend, the first weekend of the month. And then she made all the money she needed to make for the entire month and didn't have to work the rest of the month. So what am I supposed to tell these people? Yeah, it sucks. And then we win these all expense paid vacations, and I just, oh my God, I got to get to Ireland. I mean, that was just the most amazing time, just to be with all your, we don't have a lot of family anymore. We have my sister and my daughter, and other than that, all of our family is either deceased or far away. And I really feel that this is our family. You guys know more about us than anybody else in our family. I mean, it's crazy. I love being a part of Sean and Taylor's life, Jimmy, all the people we talk to every single day, multiple times a day. People are like, how often should you call your upline? I'm like, if I don't hear from my upline 3 or 4 times a day, it's like, well, what's going on? Where are you? What's happening? It was the hardest thing, not micromanaging from Ireland. Because I'm like, okay, well, we haven't heard from anybody. I guess that's good. Because normally it's nonstop. But these events, this is everything. I never would have started. Sabrina never would have started. I know Taylor wouldn't have started if we just didn't get to these hotspots. That's right.
Association.
These rally points and getting involved. I mean, it's just so important. You just feel the energy. You believe it to be true. I still can't believe that we've achieved everything we've achieved, and it's like, wow, we can achieve more. Sean came to me a couple of months ago and said, I want to be EVP, and I almost choked. Like, what, are you crazy? And here we're all moving and shaking. I'm like, we still doing this, Sean? Because we're moving like really fast.
Yeah, let's go.
Are we still doing this? And he's like, yeah.
That's great.
Like, we can do this. Holy crap.
So one of the things on all the 2 couples from you guys took is associate with the right people, go to the big events, go to the rally points, go to the hot spots, be teachable, associate with the right people, connect with the carriers. So it's like a common denominator, is what you said. Yeah, but thank you so much, Moni and Sabrina. We love you guys and excited for what the future, our future with the Alliance and growing so fast. And it's awesome. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
And one thing that I want to say to everybody is just be in the view from the edge. That is the big thing. And what I said, I'm telling you guys, see this video, because when I see this video, I see it every day because it gives me goosebumps and I get excited. I show that to the new people because you get so fired up. And I always have in my mind, what is your problem? Okay? What is stopping you? This is your life. And I get goosebumps because that's true. What is wrong with you? Let's go. Let's grow together. Let's be in the view from the edge. It's going to be next week, 21, 22, 23. I will see you there. Let's get together and love you guys and have an awesome week.
Yeah, I want to thanks, guys, for jumping on. We love our Alliance family, all the coaching. The getting this the association and coaching, and what I've seen it do for me and a bunch of us who've plugged into it is with consistent coaching, it negates all your flaws if you do it consistently. And what it does, it gives you hope to know if you do it consistently that the future you is going to be better than the present you. And that's really what it does. And that's what a view from the edge is all about. So the more people you can get there, the more lives and your own life you'll change and impact. So April 21, 22, 23, get there, guys. We'll see you there at A View from the Edge. Take care.
Let's go.
Recording stopped.